Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Blackout Gaming TV. We are continuing the Highlander Nations Cup. It is number 5. The year is 2017, and we're going to see which nation is going to be the best at Highlander this time around. We are into the knockout stages now, aka the playoff stage. So losing in this stage means you're out of the competition, and you are done, and winning gets you one step closer to the title. We have two teams with a rich history in the competition tonight. On one side, we have the United States of America, and facing them will be their European counterparts, France. I am Ceejaey. Joining me tonight on camera is Wiethoofd with Sigafoo casting. How are you doing, my man?
I'm doing pretty well. Excited to see this. This is my first Nations Cup this season that I'll be casting. I'm curious to see how my boys from the USA are going to be doing. Yeah,
I mean, these two teams, I'd say they're like vastly different to each other, but also to what people may be expecting from them. Like a little bit of background, France, they've played in the final of the Highlander Nations Cup twice. In the first two editions, they were runner-up on both times. The USA have actually won this competition back in the second time. They actually beat France in the final of the second version, which was in 2013, I believe.
Yeah, that was actually the team I was on. I beat France. Yeah, that's where the Sigafoo save came from and all that jazz. It was against the France team.
So there's probably some Frenchies want to get some revenge here. Yeah. No questions about what side you're on tonight. But yeah, when we look at these teams though, like France, even like recently, last year, 2016, there was the Sixes Nations Cup, and France won it again. So they won back-to-back Sixes Nations Cup as well. So they have some very, very talented players. Of course, there is Nerd Rage, aka Top 5 Rocket, who have played in Prem the past few seasons in 6v6. And have got some very, very talented players. But a lot of the players from the French scene have moved on. Players like Tech and Flippy in the past who played Prem with Wiethoofd and very, very successful for France. They're no longer playing TF2. They're no longer playing for the team. And there are some very new names in this team. There was a lot of drama surrounding the France team in the build-up regarding who was going to be captain and who was going to be playing. But they managed to get through the group stage. They came in second in their group stage, just behind Belgium. They did get a default win against the Czech Republic. They also beat Slovenia on the way. And they come against the USA, who finished first in their group. They also got a default win against Ireland, but they also managed 6-0 wins against both Estonia and the edition number 4 runners-up, Ukraine. So so far, 100% record for USA. Do you know much about the roster for the USA, Sigafoo?
I mean, just looking at, I don't know who they're going to be playing tonight. They're not into the server yet, but just looking at the roster of people that they have to choose from. I mean, you have some of the best people inside of North America. I mean, with Carl Sagan, he's a leader for DK inside of UGC Plaid and also player with DK inside of RGL. And he's been just doing work on Soldier Boar, one of the best snipers in America. Jarrett, a fantastic demo. And not to mention, they also have Corsa as well. Etney, a fantastic soldier. Slemnish, I mean, honestly, like all of these names, I could just go over all of them, and they're going to be followed by a fantastic player from North America. I mean, pretty much everybody I'm seeing here that is on their roster, most of them are going to be top 3 to top 5 in their respective classes that they play. So France is really going to have their work cut out for them tonight. I mean, does France have a lot of Highlander players playing, or is it more Sixes players who are just doing this kind of on the side?
It's actually a mix between the two. It's a mix between the two. In the past, when you look back at the teams like Wiethoofd, they were basically just Sixes Prem players, decided to pick up Highlander and then played really well because they had Flippy, who was probably, looking across the whole of TF2, one of, if not the best sniper to have played TF2, both in Sixes and Highlander. But obviously, him and his cohorts are no longer around. So there are some kind of Sixes players around. We've got Glastry, Elacor, players like that who play for Nerd Rage, Sixes team. We also have players like Gannon, who is the captain tonight, and Elazul, and players like that who play in Highlander. Elazul is a Prem spy, played for Budget Toucans last season. So it's kind of a mix between the two, but it's an interesting mix-up. I don't think it's the strongest French roster we'll have ever seen. it is a kind of a combination of players. Ganon, for example, is the captain, and he is a spy main, but he'll be playing engineer, I believe, allowing Elazar to be playing spy. So, like it has been with some teams in the Nations Cup, some teams are very, very privileged, shall we say. They can choose between 2 or 3 top class players per class, and just think, hey, actually, we're not going to have Sigafoo play tonight. We're going to have this other top engineer play on engineer tonight. But for some other countries, it's just a case of fitting in square pegs into round holes and just thinking, okay, like, do you know how to put sentries down? Okay, you can play engineer tonight. But I think France, they managed to get through their group. I think they'll put up a bit of a fight, but I do think USA are going to be somewhat the favourites tonight.
Yeah, I mean, it'll be interesting to see how USA play. I mean, they have obviously some great players, but the thing that they are going to be playing with is, despite the number of great players, they're going to be playing at a disadvantage, having to play on a European server. And
the excuses come out already, Sigafoo.
They're not excuses. People love to see America have their hands tied behind their back. But
I feel like I have to be French right now. I'm sorry. I have to, back them up.
Well, see, here's the great thing, is that in America, I don't know if you Europeans know this or not, but we have this thing called freedom. And that freedom allows us to win games using our freedom charges and our freedom pushes and our freedom fries. So I just really hope that you guys have it set up tonight, because North America's looking pretty good despite this ping disadvantage. It's going to be hardest in particular for the classes such as ODB, who is playing Demoman at 130 ping. Any of your hit scans, like Carl's at 149, it definitely... I played in, this cup in Season 2 with USA. I consistently played at 150 ping on Engineer, and it definitely does throw you off, because like you'll make a shot, and then it'll be like a half second, and then you hear the ding, and then you hear the hit sound. But overall, like, your aim is still roughly the same. It's like not that terrible. But when it comes to projectile classes, everything you do, every shot you take is a little bit off, and it makes it that much harder. So it'll be curious to see, especially on a map like Gully Wash, where transitions need to be fast paced, and usually you want to work in your projectile classes to kind of work through whether or not they're going to be able to hold up here, as we're continuing to get more players in here. We're up to 14 of the 18 needed. But I don't know. I mean, I'm looking forward to it. I mean, do you know that has France had much time to practice, or are they kind of more of a team that just kind of shows up on game day and everybody kind of does what they need to do?
Well, I was the captain of the Spain team, and Ganon was asking me every other day for scrims. So we never actually did play them, but I assume that he did find games. So from that kind of point of view, I do think that they have been scrimming. So yeah, I wouldn't put them out of the picture just yet. I do think they have been practicing, and we get to see another player here on Brack. I mean, there are some players here changing names. I'm not sure if they could please put their right names, because I'm sure they're all amazing players, and I want to use their correct names. But just to expand on the ping issue, you were saying there about projectile classes. I did play for the first sort of 5 or 6 seasons of my Highlander career. I did play in NA UGC. I was as part of a community. We made up a TF2 team, and I started off a medic. And even on medic, you just kind of have to be extra careful about, when someone bombs you, you're milking that oob and you think, can I hold it on? You don't always see those rockets till the last millisecond. And then I also played Spy for a few seasons as well. And sometimes the backstabs just don't register. So it can be annoying to play against, play under the ping, but it also can be annoying to play against. I think Sniper is the one that's most interesting. We've had some snipers in recent years, most notably K-Cot, who's a double Prem champion. He plays all the way from India. So he had a massive ping when playing Sniper, and that gave him supposedly a bit of an advantage in the Sniper v Sniper fight. So we'll have to see how much that comes into play, but we do have a nice share of maps here, a nice even spread across all of the different types. We're going to start off on Gully Wash, which I think is going to be interesting, like you said. Talking about the ping, I'm not sure if you guys have it in America. We have this thing called skill. Yeah, it's like it's a combination of aim and game sense generally. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
I've heard of that one time. I think Banny talked about it with the Lash or something. Not sure if that was ever resolved, but something around skill was talked about at one time.
That rings a bell. That rings a bell. Now that you mention those names, I think I've heard those players before, once or twice. But yeah, Gully Wash, definitely a DM based map. So those projectile classes, they need to land those shots, and it's going to be possibly more difficult for them to do that on a higher ping. We'll have to see how that comes into play. We are being starting on Gullywash. Second map will be Upward, of course, which is a payload map. And finally, we're going to round out with a different game mode, just in case we need to go to 3 maps. King of the Hill Product is waiting on the byline. So there is the potential to see 3 different maps, 3 different game modes tonight. Or we could just see a 2-0 shutout from one of these teams on the first 2 maps. But you were talking about Carl. I know Carl, obviously well known for playing for DK. Also played last season for Tourette's Chess Club in European Highlander and ETF2L. And his team got to 3rd place. Is he kind of the guy who's going to be calling the shots in this game, or are there other players going to be kind of making the plays?
Ultimately, I think it kind of depends. I wouldn't be surprised if it's kind of like a dual effort, that they don't have just like one shot caller. At least when I've kind of played with teams, it's kind of been rare that you have like one person who makes the distinctive calls. Usually it's kind of like a multi-teamed effort about like, whoever sees the situation makes the call. Because it would be shocking to me that if like ODB didn't see something on Demo Man class, being the first one forward, he wouldn't make the call for people to go forward. Even when I played Engineer, I consistently made calls for my team on the back line if I saw something in the numbers or saw something that, we'd be able to do something. But, Carl obviously is going to have a strong voice with his team and making the calls. I would be imagining that, yeah, of course, he'd be involved in the process. But, you also have I think the thing is that when you have so many long-time intelligent players on the team, like Nursey, who's currently in the game, I'd imagine that she'd be talking herself as well, getting out there, making the calls. So I don't know. It's kind of interesting like that, but I think it's kind of hard. I don't know if you've had this, but I always find it kind of hard to have like one shot caller with 9 players. Like everybody kind of wants to get their opinion in.
Yeah, you do need to kind of have different people bringing in different information. I know in all the teams I've played in, we have different you have a main caller, but you also have that kind of supplementary calls from people. You also need a loud voice on the flank, and that's going to be needed definitely in this game. We need people to call the push in coming in from different angles. So if you don't have a very vocal scout or soldier or anyone like that, then it might be a bit of a discoordination between the combo and the flank. Just to take a look at the chat, I think there is a bit of a delay. We are seeing some more players join in now. Corsa has just joined the game as well. Although the French team, thankfully, Sigafoo, have changed their names to correct names. So we can start to talk about maybe the French roster a little bit. So we got Glastry, Elikor, Umbrak. They're all players who play for Nerd Rage and Sixes. Elikor most likely going to be playing Demo. Glastry probably playing Soldier. Play Soldier for Ned Rage, and Umbrak is a medic who has played medic in Highlander and Sixes for a long time. So he has Highlander experience behind him. Gannon will be on Engineer, like I said earlier. He is the captain. Also a spy member, has been playing Engineer for France in this competition. Cloverleaf, formerly known as Sea-Dude, but it's changed his name to Cloverleaf on ETF2L. So he'll be playing Heavy, I believe. So he's a bit of an up-and-coming player as well. We have Maybe. Now, Maybe is a player who played most recently for Chess Club, and he played as Demo. He's currently playing Pyro in the server, so I don't know whether that means he's going to be playing Pyro, or whether him and Elikor will switch. We'll have to wait and see. Elizor is Spy. He used to play for Strong Opinions many seasons ago, but more recently for Budget Toucans in Premiership. We have Kazarok and Skirt, who... I know the latter plays for a team, I think it's 4.5 in the high tier of Sixes. So there is a lot of quality in this French side. I'm not sure if there's anyone I've missed. But yeah, there's a lot of players who play at a top level and they have Highlander experience. So I'm not sure what kind of mentality or how much information USA have coming into this game. Like, I don't know if you've ever heard of them scrimming or anything like that. But whether they may maybe underestimate France tonight or overestimate them, if they don't really know many of the players.
I imagine, Americans, we're known to be cocky. I wouldn't be surprised if we're coming in here kind of with a little bit of an ego, We're just Americans with our egos. But I wouldn't be surprised if they kind of overestimate themselves or just correctly estimate themselves. They're a good team. We got Split, ODB, Nursey, Carl, Carson, Corsa, and Vipa. All fantastic players in their own respect. Vipa is I don't know if he's going to be playing Soldier tonight, or if he's going to be on Spy. Vipa, originally a Spy main, switched to Soldier, and has been just playing lights out on that class. I believe what's happening right now is that because they were starting late and they were waiting for one more player to get in, they decided to start the game and then pause it instantly so that they could comply with the rules of starting on time while they wait for their final player to get in here, which I think is Boar. And given that Corsa is on Sniper right now, I'm guessing that Boar is going to be on Scout, which is, I mean, when you have to choose, when your Sniper choices on your team actively in the game is Boar or Corsa, like, that's a pretty good spot to be in. That's you get two of the best snipers currently in North America, and you're like, which one do I want? I can pick it. Okay, I can pick and choose this.
That's what I was saying earlier. Some countries are just privileged. They have these players, and it's like, who am I gonna like? I know England tonight. They have about 3 or 4 Prem snipers on their roster. And they can just be like, who's going to play tonight? Yeah, I'm going to go down the pub. How about you play tonight? And they just can pick and choose. And like you say, Corsa and Boar. I know Boar played with him a couple of times on my team over the past season. I think the other player that's waiting to join is, in fact, the captain for USA, or he's at least organising stuff with Carl, and that's Chicabo on NG. And he played for Chess Club this season as well in Europe. So he's got a bit of a European experience as well coming into the game. So that might help. That might help playing on the higher ping. Very, very nice guy, and also had some good plays this season as well. But looking at kind of assessing the players that you know from the US and from what you know from the French players that I've described, and the fact that it's Galiwash and the fact that US are going to be on high ping, who do you think is going to be favourite for this first map?
I gotta go with my boys in USA. Like, I'm gonna be shocked if they don't. I mean, I know Carl is a very intelligent player. You're playing with hyper aggressive people on the side of North America who are very confident in their abilities. And when it comes to 5CP, you win the map either through DM and making good plays, or by stalemating as much as you can onto the final point. And so I think that through the DM side of things, we're going to be able to win those battles and come out on top. I mean, I'm not as familiar with the French team, so maybe I'm overestimating our abilities, but I really think that USA is going to have a good chance, and they're going to come away with it. And honestly, given the fact that I think France will give a good back and forth here, but I think USA will come out on top. And then when it comes to Upward, given that every single player on our team is a Highlander based player, who some of them also have a decent amount of 6 experience, I'd be hard pressed to believe that we wouldn't win Upward as well. From that, as looks like we got unpaused, so that means they're live in real time. Meaning that hopefully we get to see the first mid-fight of the game. I'm assuming they readied up 90 seconds into the future here. So, but yourself, I mean, Ceejaey, what are you thinking? What are you thinking for the results? Are you thinking France is going to take this first round, or?
I'm like, France picked Galiwash, and whenever you see these playoff games, you see these map decisions, I always like to try and get into the minds of the players and think, what is the reason they picked this map? What is their thinking for them picking this map? And I can see Glastry and Elikor, those players going absolutely ham on this map. I understand US have got great players, but like we said, playing demo on sort of 150 ping isn't going to be that much of a pleasant experience. And if France can get a bit of momentum going, then I can see them doing something here. So I'm gonna say France. I'm gonna have to play devil's advocate and say, yeah, I reckon France can get a foothold into this game. Yeah, so I mean, they did pick the map, so I'm gonna assume that they are confident on it and they've got some strats and they've practiced it a little bit. America did pick Upwards, so maybe they are, like you said, feeling a little bit more of the Highlander vibe and trying to pick a map that maybe will make France a little bit more uncomfortable. But that does raise the question, if we do go all the way to product, whether that will benefit France. But we'll be finding out in this first map anyway, as we are live. USA versus France, first knockout round of the playoff stage. Highlanders Nation Cup number 5. USA will be in the blue with France in the red. We are going to our first mid-fight. Elikor is pretty fast. Sigafoo, do you want to take us away?
Yeah, and he's actually going to be putting some stickies right down this mid-fight. Currently, it's 8v9 as USA was waiting for one player to join in here. So it looks like they're actually not going to try to take this mid-fight. They're going to give it up knowing that they're down a player were a little bit slow in the rollout. I don't know if that was on purpose or kind of what happened there, as they did pause and unpause right away. So the 9th player should be joining in right now. I can see they have 18 live in server. So they're just getting set up onto this next point. As Ombrek got taken down from a snipe, of course, the very first frag taking down the medic.
That's, you know what? France just taking the mid-fight basically for free. And USA just like, okay, we're just going to take your medic and then just kind of level things out a little bit here. So huge Uber advantage here for Nursey. She's 100% holding in choke with quite a few players. And Corset is actually on the scout. So it looks like Bull will be playing sniper. And they've actually gone drop down with the demo as well. So this ODB with Corset. And they're going all the way around. I don't think France even know. They have no idea. The pyro is there. Maybe he's trying to deflect it away. But Corset is getting right in there. Doesn't actually get any frags just yet, as France just managed to kite it. Elazar getting a frag onto Split the soldier, so oh no, Viper comes in, gets a 2k, takes down the medic and manages to slash maybe to death as well. And USA comfortably capping this mid fight now.
I mean, that's just sad right there. You let 3 players get behind your lines, get within 10 feet of you before you even realize it, and then you get pushed out by a solo scout Uber who killed literally no one. I mean, what a bizarre... I don't know what France was doing there, but right now they're kind of giving up this next point. We see Kaz in the top area using that sniper rifle, trying to see if he can hold out this, as Elicour is holding up there as well. This is kind of how you want to hold when you are down Uber with Nursey up about 50%, but the second point's going to go in the favor of USA pretty much for free, as Corse is just dancing on top of the point. He's actually going to push straight forward into this Delman, gets him down incredibly low, as Boar actually picks up a collateral, taking down Umbrak. Again, Umbrak cannot stay alive.
He's died 3 times so far, and that was I don't know whether it was through a teammate or through an enemy player, but it does mean Nursey has 100% Uber again that is used onto Corsa and ODB. ODB takes down the sentry, gets up another couple of frags as well, gets onto the point, stickies it up, gets forced off here, but there's not enough French players to actually stand on the point. Now it's going to be 1-0, and that was just calamity from the start. I mean, you get the free mid fight, but your medic goes down, and then even then, like, somebody must be watching drop down on Gully mid. I mean, in 6s you have someone just keeping an eye on it so that doesn't happen. I've never seen a push like that work in Highlander because someone always checks and the medic gets forced. But we are onto our second mid fight. ODB is very fast this time around. He's going to get pressured out by Glastry. Skirt is on the scout. He's going to try and challenge. Of course, it does take him down there. But Glastry goes down in response, and basically both teams, France a little bit slower to their side actually. Elicour is waiting for the heals, he's yelling, finally does get an arrow, but that does mean that USA are already across the point, but maybe takes down Carl with the shotgun, and USA having to back off a little bit here. They're getting torn apart from both sides. Nursey is very weak, and she's all the way back in choke, but it's extremely passive from both sides, Sigafoo.
Yeah, but it looks like USA are going to come out on top. I'm kind of actually surprised that we're not seeing France try to regress onto it. Actually, Elicour is trying to push out, as well as with the pyro. Here comes out the Uber charge. It's going to be even for both teams. That actually, the dumb man does get dropped off. He got popped up in the air. Nursey was not able to reconnect back up with him. As you see, Skirt taking out Boar onto the backside. Corsa is going in for the combo, but he's not able to get anything as Split goes down as well. France is going to be able to regress onto this and come out on top. Nursey at least can find another player to connect back up with and did not die there. So USA is going to have a chance to defend the second point, as Vipa is still behind the enemy lines on this midpoint using that Cloak and Dagger, giving intel to his team, but this next point looks to be an easy push here for France, and probably you're going to just take it for free.
Yeah, I mean, USA doing the smart choice, just getting back, just trying to build up. Actually, no, they're not. They're coming forward. ODB is getting some spam onto the point. Onbrack does go down to Carl. The combined spam of the demo and the heavy takes him down. Cloverleaf goes down as well, as Carl picks up 3 kills there. And the rest of the American players just go in. But Elazar, the saving grace at the end of that, does get a backstab onto Nursey. But for some reason, France were just totally unprepared there on the low ground. USA just decided to contest. They knew that they were at 30% disadvantage. Just walked in and took it in just a free DM battle there. So they managed to get the midpoint off of that as well. But Ombrek is at about 20% Uber advantage here. France don't have the players. They need to be careful if they don't get rushed here. Things could go wrong, as Glastry does get taken down by Split. He gets traded as Elicour picks him up with the stickies. But France looking like they want to do a bit of a passive hold here, Sigafoo, and maybe they're just a little bit worried now about the aggression coming out of America.
But the thing is there even Ubers, they can try to get a little bit more aggressive, usually get passive when you don't have the Uber advantage. And so you can see America is just taking all this free down ground, is that Elcor actually is completely alone on the lower ground. ODB is trying to push him on, as well as with Carl. We can see the Heavy doing a decent amount of damage from the upper side. Nobody was contesting him, as we see a lot of push coming in here from Big Boar, but Split gets completely shut down, as the Engineer is going to try to start contesting this point, as Vipo was doing a good job. USA getting a lot of cap time on this point for free. Both mechs coming up to 100% right now, as Boar does at least pick up one more, taking down the Soldier. He's going to go and take down the Demo as well, as Vipa is still on top of the point, annoying the Engineer of Ganon, who is just trying to stop this from being able to be captured for free. As we'll see how USA wants to push this. Corsa getting very aggressive in Big Door. I think they want to wait for their players to get back up, and Ombrak now, he's completely alone. As all of the French player have dropped down, and now it's going to turn into a little bit of jostling for position, as America wants to figure out how do they want to push this, being even Ubers.
Yeah, they did take down Carl there. Elizal with a nice backstab to take him down, and Elicor's starting to get aggressive here. Uber is used. You know, a nice pipe onto Nercy, sorry. Who uses her Uber as well, and it's basically just a trade here in the choke. Both teams using their Ubers, and both teams just backing off into a safer position. And this is where we start to get the Highlander stalemates. Viper is cloaked in behind enemy lines, just around the second point, just kind of watching and I suppose telling his team where everybody is and what's going on. And maybe it's just kind of checking around here. Corsa takes down Skirt and Elazor there. 2 frags, but they're not major frags that should be able to be pushed on here. Split is actually in choke, and they're starting to walk forward. Carl just getting aggressive. Viper not managing to get any frags as France back off. Split jumps in, but can't land anything. And France just playing this very carefully and very slowly, just giving a lot of space in the choke and Big Door, Sigafoo, and America looking like they maybe want to take a little bit of advantage of that.
Yeah, Corsa did a great job opening it up. He took down 2 of the flank classes, or at least took down the Scout as well as the Spy, which allowed them the combo of USA to rotate around to be able to try to take some ground, but USA didn't really want to capitalize off that too much. You can see France playing very passively. What I'd like to see USA do here is maybe go to the Big Door side, go underneath. A Split does pick up 1 frag, taking down the Soldier there, because if you push with Uber... Actually, what am I saying? Ombrak has dropped down, so now they can just push through the door, or they can just push through main, and they'll be totally fine to be able to do this. You can see 5 players are getting ready for the USA side. Vipa is working his way through. Corsa now starting to peek around, see what's there, waiting for the call to go through. Currently, 3 players are down for France, so USA should work off of this pretty soon, but they're not wanting to pop the super. They need to just go for the trade, and it looks like it's going to be coming in, but Vipa is the one coming in, taking down France, and that's going to open it up here for USA. They're just going to start to rain through onto the second point.
Yeah, once again, the Uber is just used straight onto Corsa, who picks up a few frags. Nasty there with the Uber Salt onto Ganon, adding another 25% to her Uber charge total, meaning might actually get Uber charge for the last point earlier than, but they're going straight in, Sigafoo. They're going straight in. They got ODB and Corsa ready to walk in, but France have got their respawns and they're in position. They don't really want to take that fight. They have an Uber advantage. Want to play it slow. They want to play it smart. Ombrak is still running the Medigun, not switching to a quick fix or vaccinate or anything like that. But they're just playing it slow. And you know, Gully is still a hard point to push. If France get their players in decent positions, then they should be able to hold this. But actually, no, they're coming in through River here. Pretty much for free. Corsa is chasing down Elicor into the water area. Is going to take him down. ODB is on the point, gets some nice stickies down. And once again, the focus is on the point, Sigafoo. And France, they don't get onto the point to block it.
I mean, the Heavy was dropping down to do it, but I think USA just kind of caught France with their pants down. I see London, I see France. I see underpants. As they just got completely destroyed there. They did a good job. Corsa chasing down Demoman so he couldn't do damage to other people. And then the Heavy tried to drop down, but when the Pyro came underneath from water, he's able to air blast him back and did such a good job. So we come out here to this third midpoint. USA have won. Actually, they didn't win the first one. They gave it up for free, but they won the last one. We'll see if they can continue that trend as they do pick up 1 frag early on here, taking down the Soldier, but Corsa is down, so no Scout here for USA, but Vipa picks up 1, taking down the Heavy.
Yeah, that's a big pick, and that's probably going to open things up for the USA to just walk forward. There's a lot of HP out of the fight now, but the flank for the USA is totally dead here, but no, Elicor gets picked up by ODB, so that's pretty much finished it off. USA going to get this cap. They're just delaying a little bit longer. Borg gets taken down by Kazarok, though. So, no sniper. And I was going to say, in that previous stalemate, the big thing that was happening was the fact that France were playing passive, but then there were certain players getting aggressive and just getting picked off and essentially feeding ball. And it got to the point where there was 2 or 3 players down for France, and then USA could push off of that advantage just on players alone. If you're just going to feed the sniper, it's not going to work out too well for you. But Viper is in here around Rock. Maybe, there we go. He catches him out and triggers that that Spicicle to get him away. And now we're back onto another stalemate, and France have to do something differently to what they did last time, because last time it didn't work out too well for them. It just got pushed all the way back to last. Umbrak with 100% Uber has to make sure he doesn't drop this time. Has got experience playing Highlander in Daratutu in the Premiership Division a few seasons ago, but maybe needs to be reminded of the constant spy and the constant sniper as Boar takes down Elikor. So no demo, and that's going to allow the Uber to come in here onto course, and once again a lot of damage going down, but no frags, and France still do have the Uber, but they've got no one really to push it with, as it is finally used onto Cloverleaf, but the Heavy isn't going to get able to chase that Boar. He's on the rock. Can he go for a hero snipe? Maybe he's trying to chase him. He got
me! What just happened there, Boar? What are you doing, you insane madman? What just happened?
That's reminiscent of the Mac shot against SNSD from years ago. Just point blank, just straight onto the Pyro, straight onto the medic. Absolutely insane. Huge Uber advantage for the USA. Viper is already on the last point. Nursey has 90% in the bank. Boar is ready to get some more frags. Chilling in the river there. Carl goes down to skirt, but I don't think that's going to stop USA from pushing. They have this huge ad. And then Gannon goes down as well. Uber is in on last. He gets flashed into lots of players, mostly Corsa once again. The point is focused. Carson is there trying to get some damage, but maybe he's trying his best to deflect it away. There's just not enough players alive. But actually, 4v4 here. Sorry, 4v5. Looks like France may be able to hold on to this Sigafoo.
Yeah, I mean, the biggest thing that happened there for USA is that they did not go in together. They had the Scout, Demo, and Pyro, but the Pyro was too late on the push. The Spy decloaked on the point to be able to start getting that capture time as the Ubercharge was coming in. But they needed to get more players than just 4. France did a good job of kiting the damage, not taking any frags too early on. And so they were able to defend it, but Viper does pick up 2 frags, taking down the medic as well as the Demo. Umbrak just cannot seem to keep his life this game. The pick classes for USA are going absolutely insane. We'll see if LZU can go insane. And does pick up a stair step on the ODB? What? But only 3 players left alive on France, and they should be able to just walk this in.
I thought he was going in for the medic there, almost got us to the back in Nursey, and then just changed his mind to go for the trick stab onto the Demo. Very tasty indeed, but only 3 players left alive for France. There are respawns, but the respawns are being met with an Ubered Scout, as Corsa is just trying to spawn camp here. Boar is just continuing to get frags left, right, and center. Carl is on the point now, getting some cap time. He's at full HP. Elizal gets onto the point, but can't uncloak in time to actually block it. That makes it 3-0. And
you know
we're just...
also...
Go on.
Sorry, go ahead. I was going to say, you know what also has 3 things. I just want to say, USA also has 3 letters. We're up 3-0. I'm just saying USA on top. It's happening right now. USA is going to crush it. They're going to take it 5-0. Not even close. France doesn't have a chance.
I like how you say that once half the game's already gone and they're already 3-0 up. I mean, it's quite... It's not very... doesn't mean you have to be very brave there. As Carson gets a nice reflect kill onto Glassry there. And Boar with the body shot takes down Elikor. Viper takes down Cloverleaf. Maybe goes down to ODB. And that's the entire combo for France down in the first few seconds of that mid-fight. Nursey staying alive at 75%, but so does Umbrak. Managed to get out of that mid-fight all the way back to last with the assistance of Gannon. So he's going to have about the same Uber, and that means France may be able to contest second here as Elikor comes in onto to Carl here. Does take him down quite easily. Carl was all alone there on that second point. Maybe trying to get some early cap time. Split jumps in, lands 1 rocket on Umbrak. He'd actually taken no damage whatsoever. And can he get out? No, he doesn't. He gets piped there by Elikor. So France trying to claw their way back into this game. They have over half the game to get 3 rounds and equalize this out as Elikor has the Uber used onto him, and Carson is just going to reflect that away, just trying to deny any space for France. Corsa gets a nice little flash there, just trying to get forward, but no more frags, and it's just kind of more stalemates, which is playing into the hands of the USA. They've got more time to play with than France do.
And France just learned their lesson of why you don't try to take a Demoman Uber through a choke point, because if a Pyro's on the other side, you're going to lose it. And if Carl's on the other side, he's going to lose it onto you. 3 frags in an instant there, and France is being absolutely devastated by the heavy weapons, man, as Viper helps pick up 1 more, and now there's only 5 players left alive for France, and USA is going to push through here, as France was trying to get aggressive, but Carl, he was on the other side, easily cleans it up, and now they're looking to take a 4th round.
Yeah, they're already starting to walk into the lobby here, but France have got their respawns. Let's not forget, Ombrek hasn't died yet. He's at 90%, just 10% behind Nursey. Has to be careful. The spy comes in, but Viper does manage to get a frag this time, as the USA are coming in through River, maybe doing great denial here, and Nursey gets juggled all the way in! 1v1 onto the medic, trying to get the Ubisource, doesn't manage to actually force Ombrek. Balls of steel coming out of that man, not scared of a medic in his face. Carl goes down to Kazarok there, and USA are starting to bleed players. Only player down for France is maybe actually joined in the spawn queue by Glastry, but France still have their Uber there, and should be able to push out here with the 100% coming through lobby with Cloverleaf, but the spy is in behind. Viper actually gets seen by Ombrek this time, checking his back. No drops coming out of Ombrek this time around, and France are already all over the second point here at Sigafoo, and starting to edge their way back to mid.
And they're doing a decent job, but they need to try to push very quickly into this midpoint if they're going to have a chance. They do have numbers, and they have that Uber advantage, and if they wait too long, Nursey's going to be able to get her Uber up in times, coming into 80%. They're starting to work their way in here. Splits jumping into the combo, does take down the soldier. Now it's just a Demoman and Medic alone here, and Corsa is trying to aggress with them, as well as Carson using that backburner to get the force off onto the enemy team. Elocor is now going to try to push across, but this is very dangerous, because now the Medic has no chance to get out. With the Pyro on the other side, he's going to easily keep them back in here, and now it's just a fiesta, it's just a feast going on here, as all of them are going to be taken down eventually. The Ubercharge probably didn't need to be used there by USA. I'm not sure why Nursey popped, but they're going to come through. They're going to run into a level 2 cinch gun, but that should easily go down. The Engineer actually does pick up 1 frag, but finally it does get taken out. USA starting to push through, and just really questionable calls there by France. I mean, they wanted to get aggressive, but they didn't have enough of their team, and then they popped Uber and tried to stay in despite, like, very clearly there was no chance they're going to do anything else there.
It's really, there was a really poor Uber. You get to the point where you've only got 4 players left alive, and you're solo Ubering a demo. You know, maybe they were just hoping to get the force, which, I mean, they did get the force in the end, but it does mean Nursey is going to have a huge ad again, as Ombrek did die at 90% already, and Ombrek is only at 50%, so just chilling here. I'm expecting, there we go, the Corsa Uber to come in. Ombrek takes so much damage, and Viper combines that to come in from behind, take down Cloverleaf. So that is 2 players down, 2 very key players for blocking this. But Elico is still alive, trying to spread out that damage using the sticks, takes down Carson, but Viper comes in and takes him down as well. The Spy is still alive. ODB with a huge jump in, gets some sticks onto the point, baiting the France players to try and block it. And there's only 1 player left alive, that is Skirt. He is nowhere near the point, and that allows Corsa to just stand on it and cap 4-0 already. And 11.5 minutes to go, and France have quite the challenge to get back into this game. They need 4 rounds, otherwise the first map, the map of their choice, is going to go to the USA.
I mean, I think the big thing for France is I don't think they can come away with this first map as a win, as we are playing a best of 3 series, so France isn't out of it, and they still have a chance here. So we'll see if they can do it, but I think the biggest thing, if they can just get 1 round in, that's what they need to do. The biggest thing I'm seeing difference is we're curling through this mid-fight, USA getting 2 picks early on here, taking down the sniper, so USA can peek a little bit more aggressively, Split picking up 1 more as Vipa is going in for a stab, not able to secure it, but they are aggressing, but France is still holding firm. They're not giving this up despite being down numbers. Glastry is trying to push forward for himself, but here comes Split over the top, takes down the scout. It's going to be maybe getting pushed all the way back to spawn, and now Carson's back burning. No, that's just the regular Pyro right there, but he is coming from the back, takes down the medic, and just USA, just every mid-fight is doing so well.
Yeah, they just seem to get the better positioning. That's the thing. They have control of the point. And when you have control, you can kind of dictate the flow of the game during that mid-fight. And because the USA have control of that point, they have the high ground. France are just finding it really difficult. But Elizabeth is on the medic. Nursey not popping, though, for a revolver. And does get taken down there by ODB. But France trying to do some sort of forward hold here. They have to be careful. They don't have Uber. 25% for Ombrek. Trying to escape back to last now. And actually, Chikapo is right into the face of Cloverleaf. Manages to survive, but he's probably going to get finished off there by Corsa. Ombrek gets chased away into the spawn. And USA have used all their entire Uber to get into last point now. Elikor goes down, but Nursey gets body shot by Kazarok. and he also gets a body shot onto Boar as well. So two kills for the French sniper, in quick succession. Man, I'm stuttering today. But yeah, France, uber advantage. Nercy's still down. Viper just goes down. And now France need to push out here if they have any chance of getting anything out of this game.
Yeah, I mean, the big thing there is USA just getting a little bit cocky as they went in fairly alone, trying to bring in just Corsa alone on the Uber, and that's just not going to work out. That's the same reason why their last push into last did not work out. But ODB does get taken out. Nice snipe there coming in from Kaz, Iraq, as they continue to go on. He picks up one more as they're working through this big door. Nercy also was taken down there by the melee of the Pyro. So nice job there, and Vipa's going to get caught out, and this is actually looking very good now for France. They come back, they're going to take this midpoint. They're also going to have about a 30 to 40% advantage as they're already rolling their way into the second point, and this might be it right now. They need to get that mid capture, though, as they're spawn camping the USA team. It'll be interesting to see, though, are they going to be able to get a successful push into this final point the first time around?
Yeah, I mean, they have 50% Uber charge on Ombrak already, so he does have that advantage. They have the second point now, so the question is, where are they going to take this push? They need to be successful. USA so far, in, I'd say, what, 4 out of 5 of their pushes with Uber advantage into last, or 4 out of 6, they've been very successful with it, at least. They've been taking the scouting, getting in deep, closing down those spawns, and then focusing the point. But USA are giving up frags. They'd actually give up 3 players, but no. Elikor goes down there to Carl, so no demo for this push, which is going to be absolutely key in locking down those spawns. They do use the Uber onto Skirt, take down Split and ODB, so no demo, no soldier. There's only 4 players left alive for the USA. One of them is Chikabo with a level 2 sentry blocking that point. Viper comes in with a revolver to take down Ombrak. Sentry finally does go down. France are kind of half in, half out here. Maybe he's on the point, he's going to air blast people away, but Chikabo comes in with the Rescue Ranger, and Carl's going to clean up the kills. 3 players left alive for France. They're not going to get this cap right now. And Eliza was actually uncloaking on the spawn, but gets Uber-sword by Nercy, just giving more charge to our Uber, which is now at 100% Sigafoo, so they're going to push out quite comfortably.
Yeah, I mean, Elzul at least would have maybe had a chance to maybe go for a spy cap, but they have the engineer in Pyro going back there. I mean, that was a really wasted opportunity for France. That was their first genuine push they could have had to the final point, and it just seemed like they were not able to focus. I mean, even Corsa as well as Vipa went for picks onto the medic, and so they were even not going up with Uber advantage, they're going up with player advantage, and yet they still can do it. And now here we can see the Uber advantage going into the midpoint here of USA. Gannon is trying to jump on his, but he's going to get taken out. El Azul, he's going to be caught out here, goes down as well, but this does leapfrog the Uber advantage back in the favor of France on the second point. But a lot of aggression comes from USA trying to take down the Demo Man, but Carl's going to be the one who gets taken out, as now Maybe's pushing through here, getting a lot of damage onto the enemy team. They pick up the Pyro, so no Carson alive here, down for 20 seconds. So this means that if they want to push with this Kritzkrieg, they're not going to be able to be air blasted back, and here it comes through this midpoint, but Split as well as Corsa doing a good job trying to spam them out, but they're not able to really get too much with that. They do get 1 frag, but it's going to be Glasstree getting a 3K, helping his team go through here. But now Nercy onto 90%, and they should be able to regress back onto the midpoint here, onto France.
Yeah, Glasstree really opened the door there. The crits didn't achieve anything, but it was Glasstree who enabled that push to happen. But Nercy does have 100% Uber already. Ombrak at 60% crits. They're trying to get aggressive here in the big door. They do pick a couple of kills, actually. Carson and Carl, and now Boar's gone down. The Uber has been forced. Elikor gets dropped, and actually looks like Ombrak is going to get chased here. Oh, a nice surf, but he surfs straight into the face of Corsa. So, unable to escape there, but there is a back cap going on Sigafoo. ×3 on the point, but that's going to get cleaned up. It's Skirt trying to get some sort of back cap going on with Glasstree, but the cap goes down on the midpoint, and it's going to get taken out by Nercy with the arrows, and USA in control of the point already. Sorry, in control of the midpoint, and with 5 minutes to go, I'm going to pretty much say that's GG at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, there's no real way for France to come back here. You know, I think, as I said, the biggest thing that they can do is just get 1 round. Just get 1 round, put it in your cap. When you're going into upward, at least you have that to work with. Elzul does get at least 1 more into his cap as he takes down Split the Soldier, and he's coming back around. He's looking for more frags, though. Carson on that Pyro class, sitting with his medic, making sure he can do everything to protect him from being backstabbed. Nercy coming up to 70%. Ombrak is still holding onto that Kritzkrieg, so they will get it just a little bit faster as Elzul gets caught out there. But Vipa got taken down on the backside, as well as Elikor gets taken out, so his Kritzkrieg is going to be a little bit weaker. Carl pushing around, and here comes out. The laser beams are going to be out onto the heavy, but now the Uber charge is going to be popped out Umbrecht gets popped up in the air, going down to 26 HP, able to get a little bit more health as they pick up one more. Umbrecht's trying to run for his life, but he ends up falling down into the pit. He's going to reconnect that back up with Cloverleaf as they're continuing to pick up frags for USA. They're trying to push through right now as ODB leading the charge with this team. He picks up Umbrecht right there, gets a beautiful pipe onto him. Cloverleaf is also going to be taken down. Only 4 players left alive here for the defensive side of France, and they should be able to take this all the way through and take the first map 5-0 if they want onto this final point.
Yeah, they could seal it out here. They have a huge ad. Umbrecht's going to be spawning in 2 seconds with the rest of the team, so France will have respawns, so that might make USA think twice about pushing in straight away, but they can just wait, get the Uber, and then push in. They did fail earlier on in this round, actually, with an Uber ad, so they'll have to do something slightly different, but this time around, will they go for the river push, which has been so successful for them so far? France doing the best they can. They actually go through the sliding doors. Of course, they're getting a lot of damage onto the players, but the Vaccinator is out onto Umbrecht with that bullet resistance just to prevent a little bit. So many players are going down here from the USA. Viper's the only casualty so far. Carson just focusing the point, gets a nice arrow there just to stay alive a little bit longer, and ODB just strolls onto the point. Doesn't even need to fight anybody, and he gonna make it 5-0 Sigafoo with 3 minutes to go. And that's a pretty comprehensive victory on your opponent picks map, isn't it?
Yes, it is. I mean, they never really look shaky. I mean, the game, I think the game was almost defined by the first round where USA started out 8v9 and they didn't even contest the second point or contest the midpoint. They let France cap it, and then who was the first person to die? Umbrecht getting sniped by the sniper from Big Door. I mean, that's the biggest thing. I think that's the biggest storyline I'm seeing this game is Umbrecht just does not look comfortable out there. Whether it's he just is playing very aggressive for what a Highlander medic needs to play. I don't know. Did you say that he's more of a Sixes medic, or does he have Highlander experience?
He's played Highlander a long time ago. The last time he probably played Highlander in a team was Season 5 of ETF2L. In Prem with Daratutu, and considering we're about to start Season 13, that was quite a long time ago, but he's more well known as a Sixes medic. He's played for the Nedro team for a while, and yeah, maybe it's just that kind of that Sixes mindset, just a little bit unaware of the spies.
I mean, unaware of the spies, unaware of the snipers seems to be the big thing that is getting him. But like even his positioning, he's very aggressive. You know, like in that final fight where he got piped by ODB, he was trying to fight over the second point when his team like was clearly already losing. Why not just back up, go to last, you know, hold the final point and get a good hold going on there rather than fighting 9v5. You know, it's just, there's a lot of confusing decisions to me, a lot of aggression coming out of France at the wrong times. They had moments and glimpses of playing well, but as we move into Upward, you know, I'm very skeptical because, you know, payload maps reward the teams who understand the game mode more. And, you know, 5CP, it's more about DM, it's more about speed, being able to push off of advantages. But Upward, it's a little bit more focused on the objective, and so if you don't have as many players as familiar with Highlander on the France side, that might hurt him. But let's take a look at the logs from that last game, and who are the players that are standing out to you, Ceejaey?
I mean, I think it's pretty obvious when you look at the top fraggers. Corsa's there with 35, going 35 for 16, and then you got a Boar going 30 for 19, and ODB going 29 for 10. So huge KDs on all of them, and a lot of frags as well. It's not until we get down to the 4th position that we have Elicor there with 28. The French demo man. He did actually, in fact, top damage. He got 2k more damage than ODB. He was at 428 per minute, but it's pretty comprehensive. Even when you look at the soldier classes splits, there it's got 22 kills compared to Glastry's 20. When you consider the ping advantage, I suppose, for the French team, Glastry got out-fragged, out-damaged, and he died a lot more as well. So you can see kind of where the focus was. There's a lot of French players in that middle area, but in general, Corsa, Boar, and ODB just doing a lot of work for the team. Boar, obviously, during those stalemates, getting a lot of picks, but ODB and Corsa just taking a lot of those Ubers and just kind of wrecking face with them. And I think that's pretty much what led USA to victory on that map.
Yeah, I'm just looking now. I was talking about Umbrecht before. I actually have the numbers right now. So Umbrecht died 13 times that last game compared to Nurse's 4, which, you know, isn't the most surprising thing given how well they were doing. But if you look at where the picks were coming from, half of the picks that happened to Ambrak, 4 of them were from Vipa the Spy, and then another 2 came from Boar. Split running in and out with 2. Corsa also picked up a couple. Those were probably more on the Uber pushes than anything else. And so it really kind of spells the story to me is like Ambrak just has to be more careful about spy checking and also being aware of sniper sightlines and when he's peeking them. And I think if Ambrak and France can keep their medic alive, I think they're going to have a chance this game. I think they're not going to be written out. But if the same thing happens over and over again, I mean, even if your team plays well, if you don't have your heals, if you lose that Uber advantage, and you play against a team such as the USA, who really understands how to capitalize off advantages when they happen, I'm hard-pressed to believe that France will be able to come back here unless they can fix that basic level of medicing.
Yeah, it is. We basically, from what I saw on Galiwash, it was essentially fights happened, and then Ambrak got killed, either backstab, snipe, or a sack, something like that. And then the USA just took that advantage and just pushed it all the way to the wall and won the round. And you got to question if Ambrak hadn't died, if there'd been a bit more spy checking or no cyber sight lines or whatever, anything like that, then I couldn't see actually a point there where France were under pressure. It was mostly just them getting the medic picks and then USA rolling on that advantage. And the thing with Upward, you generally have the attacking team with the advantage. You get a force, you get a pick, and then the attacking team just rolls it on point to point. So I'm a little bit worried for France if they need to get a little bit of stabilization going on. They need to cement themselves onto a point and get a decent hold, get themselves well protected, get those key classes. It's not just the medic, it's also the sniper, it's also the demo, it's also the NG, especially on payload, that you need to have protected. And if those players aren't protected and USA get a pick, then they're going to push off the slimmest of advantages. But I have been told that Glastry, the soldier, is leaving us. He has to go to work, so he's going to be replaced by Alien Smiley. So we have a change of personnel. I'm not sure how much of an effect it's going to have. Obviously, Glastry thought he could play the whole game, but because of the delay, has had to leave us prematurely. But who's going to be the key figures for you on this American team for this map?
Yeah, I mean, looking at the last round, I mean, we kind of talked about it, Corsa and Boar, because if you look at actually like just player by player, where do the medics or the engineers are by each other, the pyros are by spies, heavies. The really big difference in terms of where players are being ranked in terms of kills is the scout and sniper. Skirt only picking up 17 frags that last game, whereas Corsa was on 35. Whereas Boar had 30 frags on sniper, and Kazarek only had 17. So basically, the scout and sniper for France were double fragged by their USA counterparts. Now, the big thing here, too, is that Corsa, I really like the Ubers that they were doing consistently inside of the 5CP map, which is that they were bringing their sniper or their scout consistently in on the Ubers. That's one thing that I thought France was maybe doing some mistakes on, is that when they did have Ubers, it felt like they didn't bring their scout in enough of the time, bring Skirt to try to really make those play down. Scout is traditionally a flank class inside of Highlander, but when you bring Corsa into it, like, it really seemed to help them get that forward ground, and especially with the medic, having that speed boost, being able to keep your scout in tow and be able to help out there. I thought it worked out pretty well, but the big thing I need to see is Skirt and Kazarek step up to the plate and try to equal their counterparts. They don't have to beat them, but they just need to do better. And then with Ambrak, you keep his life a little bit more. France definitely has a chance here. And this is Upward. Like, DM isn't the thing that's going to necessarily reign supreme. It's more about the objective. We've seen that instead of RGL when we've seen like Sixes players play, but we are readied up. We're coming into setup time, and we'll see how the defensive side wants to handle this.
Yeah, it is going to be the USA on the defense first on the red team, with France in the blue. They'll be attacking first, trying to set as best time as they can, and then we'll swap around, and the USA will try to beat that time. But I agree. I think based on the performance in that first round, Boar getting a lot of frags, if you can do the same on this map, then it's going to be very, very difficult for France to push. But as they are attacking first, they could pull up some surprise strats. They could just get in their faces, and if they set a quick time, it definitely puts the pressure onto the USA. But like I said earlier, with France picking Gullywash, USA did pick this map, so I'm sure they are comfortable on it. I'm sure they've got strats and they're ready. as we see the teams just setting up there. Chicabo with the sentry quite far back, watching the cart. And I do think it's going to be about whether or not France can get the picks onto the key players. I think in the transition plays, France could probably get some frags. I think the flank is going to be less important. We do see the flank a little bit outplayed in that previous game, but if they can get a pick onto Boar or to Nercy, then I think they can start getting a bit of momentum. So we are starting out here, and we'll have to see whether Elikor and Alien go for any suicides.
It'll be interesting to see how they want to do this. Elzul is currently trying to get himself up onto Playground. Boar is heavily peeking from Playground areas. Alien Smiley gets out. Elikor is jumping in here, and they both get taken out. Nercy's didn't even take a lick of damage there on that first suicide wave, but Elazul is currently up, trying to get himself in position. He's dropping off. I'm not really sure what spy play he's going for. Traditionally, North American spies will go back to spawn, take out the teleporter to stop respawns from being able to get in, because that allows you to basically win the team fights as you want them. But Boar's getting pushed out here by the scout, but he ultimately goes down, and France is can't really seem to figure out how do they want to aggress on this. And honestly, I think at this point they should just go for an Uber trade.
Yeah, there is a point. The cart's in a position where it can be pushed post Uber, and it doesn't look like Ombrak is out here, but maybe goes down. That is a pyro down. It's not massively key class, but it can be important in the post Uber exchange. Cloverleaf taking a lot of spam, might go down here if he's not careful. Gets a nice arrow to stay alive. Kazarok has gone down in the background though to Viper, so that's not going to be any sniper pressure. But France have managed to get all the way in here. They haven't used their Uber. Ombrak has to be careful. He doesn't get forced. He does get back to safety. Boar goes down, so no sniper for the USA now. And this is where France are starting to walk forward. They're trying to get the force. They do get the force. They have a better Uber here, but it's mostly just onto Cloverleaf. Lots of flashes coming in from the USA. And if France can collapse here, as maybe starts to come forward, gets a bit of damage onto Carson, but has to back away. Isn't being supported by the rest of his team. Elikor is the only person starting to get some spam out now. But a bit of a failed push there, and France have to regroup and maybe try again in a couple of minutes.
And this is what I was talking about, is that teleporter. I mean, it seems like such a trivial thing, and it seems like, oh, I'm an engineer main talking about this. But the big thing with the teleporter is that the respawn from the first point, if you have to walk all the way up, especially as a heavy or a pyro or any of the silver classes, that's about a 10-second, 15-second walk. With the teleporter, it's instantaneous. So Alazul hasn't done anything this first point. He hasn't gotten any stabs. He hasn't got a sap down. He could have taken the first 30 seconds of the game, go take out the teleporter, take out the entrance, and then that would have made his team have a little bit of a better chance, because every frag they get, it's great. They just took down Boar, but once Boar comes back up in 14 seconds, he's going to be directly at the front lines. There's no delay for him to get up there. Elzul is taking out, going for the teleporter now, goes and gets a sentry gun as well. So it should help out the team, and actually DK might have to USA might have to back off here. They are popping the Uber, but they didn't get a force off. Finally, Ambrock does pop out. Nercy has to be careful now as she's running back up the hill.
Yeah, a lot of damage coming in, but no frags. France have had such a better Uber here, but ODB is staying into the fight, gets up 2 kills, including Cloverleaf. Alien Smiley gets picked up there by Corsa, who is on a 5-kill streak, and once again, they got the pick onto Boar. USA got really aggressive. They used their Uber so much earlier on, and then France's counter Uber just didn't pick up anything. Boar is back up in action and takes down Kazarok, so France still unable to push this first point. But Nercy goes down there to Elikor, just the stickies coming over, takes down the medic. She's not going to be up for another 15 seconds. Ombrak at 80%, and the USA have to give it up here. Carl's going to go down very late, as does Boar. And this is what I was talking about. If France can maybe start to roll this a little bit, then they should be able to get the next couple of points, as Carson also goes down quite late to the mini-sentry of Ganon.
Yeah, they should be able to easily take Hill here. France is all going through the lower side. I don't really agree with this right now, as Viper is going to try to make a play on the card. He's going to get caught out there. Finally, they do push up to the hill. The gun's going to go down. Chocobo is a little bit overextended from his team. Now splits directly above the medic. The force doesn't come off. Actually, that was just France popping it to take ground here. I'm not sure they needed to pop there. I'm not sure what they were trying to take ground from. And Umbrak's going to get taken out. What just happened here? The very confusing plays coming out of France, as they had Uber advantage. USA wasn't even trying to contest the second point. They're not going to try to contest this right now, just backing up to third. But France, honestly, they could have just held outside of spawn, never pop their Uber, and take the second point for free. I don't know what they were trying to do there. There was no ground to take away from USA, because USA was already giving it up.
It's probably a bit of a naivety there to do with, where to hold and stuff like that. Like you said, most commonly teams with an Uber advantage will just hold outside in the doorway, stick it up, prevent the enemy team from pushing out. and not have to use the Uber at all there. So France deciding to Uber in, and there wasn't really anything to frag, getting caught in too deep. So that doesn't mean Nursey has 100% Uber, and is actually less than 100 HP, getting spammed, getting chipped away here. Does use the Uber onto Corsa. They're trying to get in here, but maybe with the reflex is finally going to go down, but denies most of the Uber there. And France are in a good position. Elizal takes down Carl, so no heavy, and France could push this with an Uber advantage now. They're at 75%. Corsa also went down to Elizal there, but Boar managed to take down Kazarok, so no sniper pressure from France. He gets another kill onto Alien Smiley, so that is a 3k for him. And France do have this Uber ad now, and it's just about time. They're going to start to use it on Elikor, who jumps in, trying to take some space. There's a level 3 sentry already in position. Using that Wrangler is just going to soak up so much damage, though. Maybe he tries as well to get some damage down. Finally does go down, but maybe traded his life for it. But Carson, using the Flock, gets a 3k, takes down Ombra, Kazarok, and Elikor. I think that's the first Flock play I've seen in a long time, Sigafoo, and it worked.
It worked spectacularly. I don't know what USA did with their initial Uber beforehand, and I don't really know what that was right there, but it was successful. Apparently, just living up to USA's just land of the freedom. They're going to be using a lot of different things now. Nursey, honestly, this is just insulting now. USA is just being like, we're so cocky. We're going to push you on second point. It's a terrible decision. USA should not be doing this. It's not a good hold style. They're going to lose Uber ad. They're going to have a difficult time getting out here. But honestly, it's kind of almost like USA is like, we are going to just throw this game to some degree because we're still going to win. Is kind of what it feels like, because this is not good gameplay out of USA. They just lost 4 players for absolutely no reason, because you're not going to gain ground out of this. And but the push out of France was also a little bit confusing. The cart was so far back, they needed to work the cart up a little bit closer before they started to make the push. And here we go. Looks like France is going to start pushing through this elbow. They have 100% Uber ready to go. They're going to try to work it. Nursey's a little bit caught in here. If they're able to get any damage out, it's going to be Skirt leading the charge with this Uber, as well as with the Pyro. They're chasing down into the front stairs, but that's not where the players are. They're up in the main area. And now actually the Heavy gets dropped from the Uber. He gets taken out as Course is trying to regress onto the point. The Flog is coming out as well. The cart is rolling back down the second stairs, and actually USA is going to try to push the Soldier, and with 100% advantage, they are not able to even take it past the second point on this third point. And just an abysmal push coming out of France there. And look at Nursey's running all the way forward with his Uber charge. Again, just so much cockiness coming out. They're going for Ombrick on outside of spawn. He's going down a curly little course. It does pick up the frag. And just no respect coming out for France right now, as USA is just running circles around them.
Yeah, Boar is just not allowing anyone to touch the car. I think he has a very personal attachment to the car, because anyone who gets near it just gets headshot. He's running the Bizarre Bargain as well, so the more headshots he gets, the better he gets. But only 4 players left alive now for the USA. Like you say, maybe a little bit of cockiness coming in here, and getting a bit too aggressive at times. But they have got their respawns, and Carson, with the Flog again, getting those crits, takes down Cloverleaf, is actually going to take down Alien Smiley as well, before he drops to his death off the map. But the sentry gun just seems to be going down as Corsair is behind enemy lines. Gets a 6k, takes down both Ombrak and Maybe. So Medic is down again. Nursey at 50%. And Ceejaey is just going to spend his time, rebuild that sentry, get in a position. He's got a boring job, because nothing's really going on past the second point. But the USA are just in total control at the moment.
Yeah, this is just... I mean, the fact that they can go get incredibly aggressive, put themselves in a bad spot, have beat down numbers, and they're still holding on to this third point, I just think shows you how world-class USA really is in this game, and how much France is just not able to take advantage of the situations. Like, France should have been able to take this third point when they had 100% Uber advantage about 3 minutes ago. They should have easily taken this point. They had everything in their favor. They just didn't focus down the objective. And now Kritzkrieg is coming out as ODB takes down a couple right there. And just nothing is happening in the favor of France. At least Ombrak did not go down. He's holding on to 100%. Nursey gets taken out. And
yeah, Alien Smiley jumped in there when the crits was happening, which is like rule runner 1 when you're playing against crits, as Ombrak is also running crits, but then gets killed by the soldier. So, you know, enemy medics running crits, and they crits, send your soldier in to bomb the medic, which is what both players have done for their respective teams. But USA, again, got a little bit aggressive there, and I've lost some players. Alien Smiley's on a 5 kill streak, takes down Boar and Carson, and goes back to the cart just to help with the pushing a bit. So 9 minutes and 18 is not a very good time for the first 3 points, but France starting to get a little bit of a momentum here. pick up some combo classes. ODB and Carl are down. Chikabo's sentry is only a level 1, and Nursey is on the floor, so she's not in the position she wants to be, up on the top near the window. So probably an opportunity for France to seal out and actually cap the final point as the sentry does go down. And they do have Uber advantage to Sigafoo, so they can maybe make a successful push first time.
They easily could if they play this correctly. They need to get that cart pushed up a little bit closer. They need to take down that sentry gun. But they have the charge, and the biggest thing is they need to take this slowly. A lot of teams, they get too aggressive. They lose too many players. Too many people try to make frags. But right now, they already lost 3. And in this meantime, in this 30%, 40% advantage that they had, they've already lost it. As Nursey now up to 100%. The Uber does get popped off. I don't know if Nursey was worried about getting popped, but Umbrick goes down. Once again, ODB on a 3K right there, and Nursey is going to leapfrog now back into this advantage, and level 3 Sentry Gun back up, and USA in a good spot when they really shouldn't have been. But maybe we'll pick up Frag onto the medic there, running down underneath. Nice job catching Nursey out when the team was looking away to protect her. And this actually might open it up as Umbrick, if he can work in with heals, they might be able to do a little bit with this, but they just got to make sure they get the frags at the right time.
Carsten tried to go for a flog play there, but Elikor just had Sticky's waiting and just blew him to smithereens. So getting a little bit more prepared for these Pyro plays right now. But yeah, Umbrick with the Uber advantage at 60%. He's well protected by his team up in the window there. Nursey is on the floor. And ODB is just totally out of position. It gets gunned down by Cloverleaf as France are making their way towards the spawn. Elizal and Gannon on the car. In comes Viper from behind. He gets the double stab. You need to check for that, as maybe decides to go for the cart himself. But France is starting to lose players. Umbrick is extremely weak. It's at 95% Uber. Wants to connect with somebody just to stay safe. He can't split. Goes in underneath and gets the rocket onto him. The cart is tantalizingly close to the finish line here. But France need to make one big play here to take down Nursey and make a bit of an opening. Boris down though, so maybe that's the window that they need.
This is, I mean, USA, anytime they look down, anytime it looks like France is going to be able to push onto them, an individual player steps up. You know, in that last time it looks like, okay, France is going to be able to push this into the final point. Vipa gets a 2K. The level 3 Sentry Gun never went out. Now Elikor is running alone to the cart. I don't know if he remembers that there's a level 3 Sentry Gun right there, but he's starting to spam it out. We'll see if the team can start to help it out. But here comes Nursey with Carl dropping down onto the cart. They took down one who was trying to push it, and they're going to continue to rain down damage as Umbrick got taken down. Only 3 players left alive. It's Gannon and Elizul underneath the point. The Spy is going to be able to kept alive, but USA just surprising drop down plays. And again, they're just getting hyper aggressive, going out to the 3rd point, trying to retake it somewhat as Carl's pushing forward, holding down that M1. He does pick up one more, but finally does go down for his troubles. And the cart is going to start rolling backwards as well, as it hasn't been touched for 20 seconds. Elzo does at least get a stab and stab. I can't say it. He stabbed the gun. That's what he did. He stabbed the gun.
He actually used his revolver, so it was a revolver and sap. But yeah, you're correct. He does take down the sentry gun there. So again, an opening for France. They do have 60% Uber in the bank. Nursey doesn't quite have Uber yet, and USA having to hold this this lower floor here. Nursey getting spammed, has to pick up the sandwich. Actually uses the Uber onto Carl. There's nobody near, so the heavy is not a fast class, and therefore cannot chase the enemy gamers. But they are hiding underneath now, trying to see if they can go for a play. As France do have 100%, but they are losing a couple of players here. War and Split have both gone down. And the Uber is used up top. Nursey getting chased, actually runs out through main. Trying to get body blocked here by Elizul. But doesn't manage to uncloak in time. Can he use the revolver to take it down?
Oh my god, everybody dies in the cart. Wow, they are so lucky that they pushed that over, because both players died before the cart rolled over the cliff, but fortunately they already reached the point of no return. But there's a really confusing play that happened just before the skirt was standing on top of the cart of the very elite time. 1337 is what the France was able to set there, which is not good at all. But Skirt the scout was standing on top of the cart. He was completely uncontested. There was no sentry gun shooting at him. There was literally no one shooting at him, and he jumped off. And then he ultimately died because he jumped into the sentry gun, but he was hiding from it originally. It was very baffling, because he probably would have taken at least 30 seconds, a minute off of the clock for his team, and it just seems like that's kind of what's going wrong against France, is the times in which they need to be focusing the objective to help push the cart forward. is the miscues that are happening, and their pushes are coming at very awkward times, or using Uber charges when they shouldn't be using them, or the way that they're using everything just seems like just a little bit miscued with their team. I have no doubt that they have skilled players on their team, but when it comes down to the fundamentals and to the positioning and the decision making when it comes to Highlander, it really seems that's where France is struggling inside of this game.
I mean, you say that the USA are playing, they're getting a bit cocky, and France is struggling. I think it's the other way around. I think France intentionally threw that so they could get the perfect time of 13:37. They just wanted to show how elite they were by getting elite time, and now they're gonna flip it on its head, and they're gonna absolutely hold first point for the entire map time. But Carl, they're using the stake there, to run in. And doesn't actually get anything down. But Carson...
They got 3 frags there. I mean, that was a pretty successful suicide wave. Vipa is also going to take out the teleporter before anybody gets back alive. There's no demo man, no sniper. USA can walk this forward.
Yeah, the sentry just absolutely just chomped down on everyone who got that close there. There's a lot of players who got munched down. But the Uber wasn't forced. The sniper is still up, or is respawned now. And the Ubers have come in here. They are traded on the floor. Elikor trying to get a little bit aggressive. He gets a nice flash right at the end. And USA are actually 3 players down now. Alien Smiley does go down to the flare gun of Carson. But he gets taken down himself by Maybe. So USA still being aggressive here. Kazarok takes down ODB, so no spam coming out from the USA. But no, Board does the same and takes down Elikor with a body shot. No demos for either team. That's probably worse for the defending team. And France deciding, hey, we're not going to hold on to this anymore. We're going to get out to second. Kazarok stays forward and actually gets a nice little body shot onto Corsa. And France trying to do some sort of aggressive holding. Gannon getting a sentry on the rock. And a dispenser in the side tunnel. So USA just continue to plow on through with this aggression.
Yeah, I mean, I talked about the teleporter before in the first point, but that was one of the reasons France can hold it, because Vipa went for that very early on.
Oh, backstab! Elizal takes down Nursey. I'm not sure if that was a drop. Nursey must have been extremely close to Uber there, at least like 80%. And Ombrek does use his Uber just to help his team clean up. Oh, a nice little serve there just to juggle away, and then gets the Uber onto Viper. So Ombrek starting to turn up here with some big plays. And Kazarok takes down Boar, so he's starting to get some frags as well. Like you said, he needed to turn up in this on this map for France to have any chance. So 11.5 minutes to go for France to hold on to the next 3 points. But because of that Uber pop from Ombrak, Nursey actually has a slim Uber advantage of a couple of percent. It's pretty much equal. But that just shows, like, when you think you've got a free Uber because the enemy team's medic died, it doesn't always mean that, because now it's equal Ubers. But Carl goes down to Kazarok, who's on a bit of a spree here. And USA starting to make their way forward, Sigafoo.
And they're trying to take aggression over the hill. This hold that is happening on the second point was actually originally really brought in by DK. Vipa does get an early pick here on to the heavy class, so that's going to potentially slow them down a little bit. Ombrak is going to actually pop off his Uber, and USA is going to return in kind. But it's actually going to be Elikor who picks up a nice 2K right there, taking down Boar as well. Of course, it's getting a little bit of a flash into it as Harson trying to use that flog to aggress into it, but actually the France is giving this up for free.
Kazarok there, just with the headshot onto Nursey. Kazarok's on a full kill streak. He's been absolutely dominating on this point so far. So no heals for the USA. France, like you said, trying to get out here. Corsa's trying to aggress, but then gets taken down by Skirt. Kazarok is still alive and on the B house. And finally, Carl goes down to Cloverleaf, but no, Carson comes in with the flog. The crits takes down Maybe. The backstab from Viper does take down Elikor. France really don't have their combo. They have to be careful. Skirt is trying to get aggressive here, just trying to scare off Boar. But there's no one else assisting. And actually, the most important thing on a payload map, Sigafoo, is the cart. And USA haven't been pushing.
Yeah, they're finally getting back onto it. But the biggest thing on this second point is that you can't give up the hill. As soon as you give up the hill, that point's pretty much lost. It's incredibly hard to hold this point passively. And I don't know what happened with that Uber. I mean, they were basically even. I'm surprised that France decided to back off and give up the hill for free. And now they're fighting out of a small choke point. Here comes Split with a big bomb. And Uber charge is going to come out from the defense. Nursey only at 96%, just getting those last few inches, and finally does pop onto Split, who's going to try to push back in. Great flash onto Corsic, keeping him alive as they're starting to continue in here. Nobody's pushing the cart. Finally, the Pyro is going to get back on there as Vipa gets caught out behind enemy lines. But the second point goes in favor of the USA. 9 minutes and 15 seconds, or 9 minutes, yeah, and 15 seconds is what they have to work with. So we'll see how they want to continue on here, as Carson already getting forward. Elikor is trying to shut this down, but a nice 30% advantage for the defense, but I doubt they're going to use that in any aggressive way.
Alien Smiley was just basically on the spawn there, and it took 3 American players to kind of hunt him down and finally get the frag. Carl there, wow, surviving on 6 HP. He's going to choose to eat a sandwich there as Boar gets another headshot onto Elikor this time. So no demo. They do have Uber, and Nursey is only at 80%, but France just losing place, and the Uber does get forced. It's going to be used onto Cloverleaf, and Carson actually using the flog is going to get taken down. That's the bad thing about the flog. You do have to taunt to get any effect out of it, but Cloverleaf is just going to get mulched there, and Nursey does use her Uber. Gets forced by something there. The level 2 sentry taking a lot of the focus. And Elikor is on the respawn now, trying to get some frags, but there's just not enough. France plays Boar getting some sort of insane mid-air headshot onto Alien Smiley there. And there's 3 players left alive for France. They're going to have to pretty much hold last for another 8 minutes to win this first round.
And the big thing here is that USA is doing a much better job at focusing the objective during the push. That entire time the fight was going down, when Boar was getting those insane headshots, the cart was continuing to be pushed forward, which is what this game mode is all about, as they're going to come down with the second point, and they're going to have an insane amount of time to work with for this final point. 7 minutes, it looks like, is what they're going to be working with, and so they're going to probably be able to take this pretty easily. But this 4th point, I mean, this is where good holds can come out. If France can step up, if Alien in particular can do a lot of work, they might be able to do something as Poor gets taken out on a sticky trap, and Elikor actually picks up one more, taking down Corsa as well. France is up onto 100%, but USA is not that far behind. The Spy did almost get a backstab onto the medic there. But France is in a decent spot right now, but they got to be perfect for 7 more minutes, and that is a tall order against such a great team of USA.
Yeah, I mean, the Uber is actually used by Nursey here onto Corsa once again, and the counter Uber comes in. It's a much better Uber from France. Ceejaey is just going to take it forward, just get some damage down onto Corsa, and then run away. Carson lurking in underneath there. Of course, got to be careful of those crits from the flog. But Carl is on a 6k, takes on Alien Smiley, and then the repush comes in. Ceejaey actually leading the repush there. Ombrak goes down to the Iron Bomber of ODB. And even though Cloverleaf picks up a 2k, and Nursey gets backstabbed by Elazul, so France actually hold on to this despite losing their medic. Actually just respond with a whole bunch of frags. And USA are spawning quicker, of course, so Nursey will have a slim Uber advantage, but hasn't actually started healing just yet, so Ombrak will probably just catch up here. And France, despite losing their medic very early on in that kind of drive push from the USA, end up holding it pretty comfortably.
Yeah, I mean, that's what France needs to do, is they need to have different players stepping up, making those one-on-one plays to be able to have a chance here. In America, they're up on the Kritzkrieg now, and since both mechs came up at about the same time, that's going to give them a little bit of advantage, and if that's not called by Elazul, they might be able to surprise the France team, as Elazul actually picks up 2k right there, taking down the Heavy and Soldier, though they won't be on that long respawns since they're on offense about 2 to 3 seconds. Until they get back up, but the cart is rolling backwards, so we'll see what this Kritzkrieg is going to do, as they are up to 100% and still 20% down. We'll see if they can do anything with it, as Ombrak is going to get the crits initially popped up here, trying to go up. They're going to run into a Heavy, and he just gets instantly shut down. Crits onto the Scout. He's going to pick up one frag, going to go for another one for the Pyro, does ultimately take it out, but Ombrak now coming up to 100%. They're going to try to regress here with the Scout. Skirt pushing all the way through, trying to find any frags right now, but just putting out damage, not securing anything. And here comes Caution with the Flog Pyro, but he ultimately goes down. Skirt doing a good job. Now Vipa with a backstab, taking him out. Now on a 1v1 against Ombrak, who actually wins that battle using the melee. And somehow France are holding on here. They're getting respawns up, but Ombrak is currently alone on the upper side.
Yeah, Ombrak's not healing anyone. He needs to reconnect with somebody. He does find Kazarok closer to the spawn there, but that was really well played by both Cloverleaf and Maybe. Cloverleaf just jumping in there and gunning down ODB while he was trying to crit, who actually just gets reflect there by Maybe, who during that Uber just kind of just pushed people away and just made space for the rest of his team. Skirt and Elikor just trying to make the get the frags done there, but the crits comes in and doesn't actually achieve much. It was a crits on the Scout, and a crits pistol from a distance isn't really going to get anyone killed. But Alien Smiley does go down. Skirt takes down Boar behind enemy lines, and Ombrak here at 75% is on fire, running back to spawn. And France have some sort of kind of pseudo-defensive hold going on here. Skirt is kind of chilling underneath at the moment, just giving his team intel and just focusing Boar. Takes down Nursey, just comes in behind it, just meat shot, bam. Medic down for the USA. Ombrak finally is going to get up to 100% Uber. There is a crit flog on the spawn. Cast in there, trying to get something done. Chasing down Elicor into the spawn. But the Uber is used by France. Not sure why. I'm not sure if you saw what happened there, Sigafoo, but France kind of back in control on top.
Yeah, what happened is that Vipa came up behind the medic Ombrak, and I think Ombrak got a little bit scared about dying or losing his heavy in that push, and so they popped it to keep themselves alive, as now Nursey is up on the Vaccinator of all weapons. I don't know if I've seen a Vaccinator offensive push in ever. But I guess we'll find out if it's successful or not, as USA had a nice position. They controlled upper, but they've lost it once again. Of course, running across the point, he's trying to go for the cart, but there's still that level 2 sentry gun back in the upper area. ODB, though, does pick up a frag onto maybe, so no Pyro in the upper area. And a Pyro class in that close quarters is so difficult to deal with, and so losing him might open this up, as ODB is trying to push forward right now, trying to spam around the corner. Not really able to secure much damage as Nursey onto the cart. They are dropping down onto it, using the explosive class to be able to deny it. Now switching off, but the cart is so close onto the edge. Vipa drops down onto it, and he's going to secure it. The Vaccinator using it to the full advantage, as they decided not to take the fight, but just go for the cart. And USA secures the first round, and one of the most creative ways I've seen.
Yeah, that's really good. I mean, I've seen teams do this in the past with quick fix, just get their heals in, and just, you know, with that extra healing factor, healing people on the cart while they'll try to push it in, and people can't really cope with that extra healing, and then just flashing with the Uber. But using the Vaccinator, just getting resistant to pretty much every damage type, and just getting players on the cart, flooding, getting so much camp time, and finally edging it in there. So it was about 3 minutes. 3 minutes to go. And it looks like that is game over.
Yeah, France are calling GG and said that's it. I don't know if we're supposed to play to a best of 3, but it seems like France was the first ones to leave the server, and seems like they are not interested in playing another round, if there is one.
I thought it was best of 3, but I might be mistaken.
Yeah.
Or maybe French players need to go. I know Glastry needed to get to work, so maybe other people had to go and they couldn't commit to playing even longer. That was a long round. It was like, 13.5 minutes, and then took the USA around 10 minutes to push. So a pretty long one round of upward, but that does look like it is it. So 5-0 for the USA on Gullywash, and then 1-0 on upward. So we'll take a look at the logs in a second, but I mean, in the end there, it was relatively close, I guess, pushing into the last there, but I think USA just tactically maybe had just a little too many options in the bank for France to handle.
Yeah, I mean, it just really seemed like it. I mean, if you Google French military victories, it'll ask you about French military defeats, because that's just what happened here today. There was no chance. USA just so supreme in so many different ways. Like France, they might have been able to keep up to some degree with the DM. I think USA still had the advantage there, but ultimately, to me, it just came down to the game sense of USA just reigning supreme. I really don't think France ever had a chance. I mean, on the upward last, they were able to find some success winning the 1v1 DM battles, but USA, I mean, even if they played a little bit better on defense, they probably would have been able to hold them that much more. As I said, they were starting to be very disrespectful in their play style, but ultimately it works out. But looking at the logs here, I mean, Corsa, Boar, and ODB all on top once again. Alien Smiley is doing work for his team, joining himself up there. But again, Skirt, and Kazarek both being double fragged by their counterparts. Skirt with 26 frags, which is respectable. But when Corsa goes 40, I mean, you need to be stepping up to plate for your team. And with Boar at 39 and the enemy sniper at 19, it's just not working out too well. But the good thing is that Ombrak did a much better job of not dying, and I think that's one of the things that kept his team in it a little bit closer, where they only had about, 3 minutes to defend that final point. I think they had a chance there if they were able to defend against Nursey's kind of cheeky play with the Vaccinator.
Yeah, it did seem that play was the thing that broke the hole, but in general, just I think the Ubers again just being put onto Corsair and ODB, just getting a lot of frags, a lot of damage. But my MVP across the game just has to be Boar, just going on sprees and just getting a lot of frags. And if there's a player constantly killing your team, like, in recent seasons we've seen spies do it, but if a spy or a sniper or a scout's getting behind enemy lines, something like that, that's just consistently killing people, just, once a minute, then it's just a hassle to your team, especially if it's a sniper. You're trying to go for a push, your demo gets picked. You're trying to go for a push, your heavy gets picked, and things like that just really can demoralize your team. So Boar definitely just did so much work today for the USA. I mean, 39 kills in 26 minutes is pretty impressive. But yeah, I think in general, just more team play coming out of the USA. France, like I said at the start of the cast, perhaps our players playing in roles they maybe weren't 100% comfortable with, and maybe a little bit less experienced compared to previous French teams. But I think they did themselves proud in that last round. They held it for quite a long time, and they had some decent plays coming out of players themselves. But the USA will be moving on, and I'm going to try and take a look at the bracket, Sigafoo. But I'm going to ask you. I mean, I'm not sure if I don't think you've casted any Nations Cup games so far. So
this is my first one, so I'm a little bit. But
you don't know any of the other teams at the moment. You haven't seen.
No, I don't. But I don't need to. You know why? Because USA is going to win, hands down. I'm calling it now. Don't even need this. I don't anything else. USA is going to win. It's going to happen.
Okay. Well, I can't confirm. So I'm just gonna let you have your little moment of bliss there. I mean, was it ignorance is bliss? Is that the saying? I'll let you believe what you want to believe, man. I mean, you want to step onto our territory, you want to come into our league, and you think you can win? I mean, the last time. Okay, I'm just gonna give you a little bit of flashback here. Okay, let's
give rewind. Me a flashback.
Let's rewind. Let's go back to 2013.
Give it to me.
What was the last time USA played? Was 2013? What happened then, Sigafoo? Do you remember a player called Snow? Do you remember a sniper called Snow who tore the United States of America a new one on Upward? Guess what, Sigafoo? USA's next opposition is England.
I feel bad for those guys. Well, at least they have tea and biscuits, because they're going to be needing to eat those when they're crying after the game's over.
We shall see. So, yes, the USA versus England will be the first confirmed quarterfinal in the next round. There are some other games going on tonight, so we'll be finding out the opposition for the quarterfinals. And, of course, we will be casting them as they come along. So, Sigafoo, before we go, any shout-outs before we say goodbye?
Yeah, shout out to my league, rgl.gg, and if you guys are interested, we're doing a rebroadcast right now on Twitch TV/XTelevision, or XTV Esports, of the match of Cat Noises 2 versus Freyotech, which is this incredibly great, close matchup on Viaduct, so you guys can check that out right now.
Good stuff, and we will be having more casts. There will be a cast tomorrow. I believe it is Poland versus Germany, so another tie with a bit of history there. On the Highlander Nations Cup, and of course next week we'll have more games, and hopefully we'll have more games with Sigafoo. Maybe Sigafoo will jump in for more of the USA games, so he gets to see them lose at some point in competition. But thank you for watching, everybody, and thank you, massive huge thanks to Wiethoofd for doing all the production today, all the camera work behind the scenes. I've been Ceejaey with Sigafoo and Wiethoofd. This has been the first round of the playoffs. USA versus France. USA taking it 2-0. We'll be seeing you for more games in the future. Have a good night.